Hello guys and welcome back to another video. The wait is over and the new Halo Infinite trailer has finally dropped at 12 o'clock today. We are going to break it down and review the new story, guns, abilities, enemies, and everything that the trailer has given us to be hyped about. So, let's get into it. Before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you enjoy my content and this video specifically, I hope to grow my channel. And we also just passed our 1-year anniversary, so let's make year 2 better than the first. So let's get into it. I want to clarify that there was the official trailer released on the Halo YouTube, but if you watch the Xbox Showcase, which is what I'm going off of, it started with Halo Infinite, and basically this is the stuff I'm going to be reviewing because it adds a whole nother level to what we are being shown. The Halo trailer on the Halo official YouTube channel shows Master Chief's armor being created in a station orbiting a planet. We don't really know what kind of planet, it just seems kind of barren and dead. And once we are actually inside, we can see people controlling the process as the armor is being created and molded. We also see fabric being sewn together. It's probably heavy duty since this is battle armor. And we also see all the armor pieces start forming up and being combined until near the end, we see the entire armor being put together and then finally activated as it is complete. You can also hear Cortana voicing over as she speaks about how the armor may have saved the human race, but it's the person inside who matters. Basically, Halo's going for this theme of you become the hero, you become the Master Chief, and that's shown when the armor finally lights up and Become flashes over the visor of the Master Chief's armor. And I think that's fine. I don't really think that's necessary, but this is not even the big bulk of what we've been shown today. If you watch the Xbox Showcase, you'd actually be given, after this, an entire demo trailer, which gives you so much more information and some gameplay. But surprisingly, we don't get any multiplayer, so we don't know what that's going to look like yet. But we do know that the campaign is going to be pretty interesting. The second part of the trailer starts with both the Master Chief and the pilot from the Discover Hope trailer crash landing on the Halo ring that they found earlier in the other trailer because of some anti-air turrets. And as they land, it blacks out for a second, and then we pan back to Master Chief getting the guy up, telling him to calm down, but the guy's like super frantic because the situation's got a whole lot worse since Cortana shut everything down, and the humans are really not looking too good right now. The pilot wants to go out and look around, but Master Chief knows he has to take out the 3 anti-air cannons, and this starts the actual demo campaign level, which we actually get to see a lot more since we are actually seeing the gameplay instead of just a cutscene. And Master Chief begins walking out, and we see the new assault rifle. It still looks pretty similar, but some minor aesthetic changes were made to it, and I still think it looks pretty good. But then we're greeted to this massive landscape of Halo Infinite. In a couple of seconds, we are greeted by some grunts, and these are a combination of the Halo 4 and Halo 5 style grunts and the ones from the original 3 Halo games. So that's very interesting that we see both types of grunts in this game. Then Chief looks up and a banished phantom flies overhead. So the confirmation that the banished are going to be in Halo Infinite is totally secure now. And it's interesting to see that they seem to be taking on the villain role right now. I don't know what they're going to do with Cortana, but that's for another video for speculation. Master Chief then finds a dropped warthog from a crash site nearby, and then we are shown the map of Halo Infinite. So it will actually be open world, and it looks huge just by the beginning shot of what we've seen from it. The warthog with its new sound effects jump off the cliff that Master Chief drives it up, and then he lands in a, I guess, Covenant outpost, where you can see jackals for the first time in this trailer, which do have their energy gauntlets from every other Halo game, and they seem to be having the old design from the Bungie era games, as well as some grunts which dive away from the warthog as it jumps into the area. We are then shown the new melee as Master Chief punches a grunt, And then as we turn, we see the elites, which seem to have gone back to their original design but are updated for the Halo Infinite style, which they actually look really good, and I'm happy they changed the elites. I just hope they play as well, because we did see a scene of the elites dodging. I just hope they're as agile as they were before in previous Halo games. As we move up the hill, the Master Chief picks up a new gun. I don't know what it's called, I didn't really get the name, but it looks really interesting and it hasn't been seen in Halo before. It does look kind of like a rifle, and the way it shoots it also kind of shows that. It's slower than the assault rifle, but seems to pack a punch since it one-shots the grunts that he shoots easily. As Chief reaches this Forerunner structure on the top of the hill, he is met by 3 brute drop pods, which it's good to see that we are now fighting both brutes and elites at the same time, which hasn't really been done since Halo 2, and it's good to see that the brutes are back in another mainstream Halo game. They were seen in Halo Wars 2, and that's where the Banished villain came about. Master Chief then shoots a couple down with the new gun, and it does a pretty good job, but one of them actually brute rushes, just like in Halo 2 and Halo 3, which is good to see that's returned, but they aren't just rushing without armor, so they're a one-shot anymore. In this game, they're rushing with armor, so he has to take a few shots before the brute actually goes down, which is better because the Halo 3 brutes were honestly kind of a joke in comparison to what they had in Halo 2. He meets with what I think is a brute captain, which I think has a brute shot because Chief has to pull up a shield and bait the shot, which this shield does look interesting. It has a yellowy tint to it, and he blocks a grenade and then baits the brute with a shot to the legs, and then a couple of shots are thrown at the shield and it doesn't break, so that's an interesting item. I think they had it before, but this is just like their new version of it. And then he goes up and uses a grappling hook, so there is a new ability to his armor, and this is going to be so fun to use in game because later we'll show multiple other uses for it. And he grappling hooks to the enemy and then sticks a grenade right back on him to blow him up. He picks up another gun, which I think is a redesign of an older brute gun, and then he activates the elevator on the Forerunner structure and goes up, and the view is spectacular, giving us the full scope of Halo Infinite and how actually huge it is going to be. Chief attacks a few more jackals and grunts as another Banished Phantom runs by, and he uses the new brute gun, which seems very effective against grunts especially, which basically everything is. So I don't know exactly how good it is yet, but honestly it seems like a fun gun to use, so we'll only have to wait until we see its full power. He picks up what appears to be a burst carbine. It looks slightly different than a normal carbine and fires in burst shots instead of usual, but it looks similar enough that we can guess that it's just a different version, which honestly, with what they did in Halo 5 with all those different variants, it's nice to see that they actually give new gun skins instead of just putting it over the base weapon. Chief then picks up the updated Mauler, which looks really good, and I think it'll be a fun gun to use once it's implemented into the full game. The grappler is displayed more as Chief grabs an explosive canister and then frickin' chucks it at a shade turret to blow off the enemy and some scattered enemies around it. We are shown the final gun, which is a new shotgun. It's called a Bulldog, and it looks pretty interesting. It works much faster than the normal shotgun, but still looks balanced in his gameplay. Takes him a while to kill a couple enemies, and the shield regeneration actually looks like a more hexagonal pattern than what we're used to, and I'm fine with that. It doesn't look too bad, and overall the graphics look spectacular, so I'm not going to complain if they make a minor change to something. Master Chief enters a Phantom and then presses a button on a holopad, and it seems to shut all the doors in the Phantom, locking him inside. And then it gives a message from, I think, Imperius, which, if that's his name, he is one of the brutes from Atriox's forces, and he basically says he has control of this ring, and they're trying to find this specific area, which I forgot the name of it. Sorry about that. You can watch the trailer if you want to know what it is. It starts with an A, but basically they're trying to find that area, and that might be like the activation thing or something, because there is a reason they're just taking over a ring, not to just colonize it or something. So basically, he says that, and then he mentions something very odd. He says him and the Arbiter are trying to push on Atriox's legacy, basically. So what happened to the Arbiter? Did he join their side? Did he become a traitor and start hunting down all of these humans, as Atriox would have wanted, since the humans defeated him on the Ark? If this is true, this is going to put a lot of tension on the plot, because Arbiter was our friend through Halo 3 and 5, and I don't see his reason to just kill a ton of humans. He used to do that, but I thought he changed, but I guess that's not the case anymore, and this will be really interesting to see how they actually do this. The trailer ends with Imperius being actually shown not as a hologram, but in the flesh, as he challenges Chief to a battle and says that this will be lasting longer than any of the two of them live. Well, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you're hyped for Infinite as well, stay tuned for more.